All right. Oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. How are we all doing? How are we doing on this ludicrously hot Friday? I think it's only like, it might be down to the mid 20s. Let's have a look where it is. Just as if you've been here for a year or 9 months, you'll have heard me complaining about how warm it gets in my where I stream from. Evening, Phil. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. We're here. We're going to fix some lists. How is everyone coping with the heat? Is it just me that's suffering? As you can see, and I might need to explain this to you, but trust me, it's very funny. My background is the Wizard of Oz, and I'm a giant floating head. Because if I put any more layers on, I will literally combust. Hey, how you doing? You're also boiling? Yeah, I know, right? It's illegal. The classic UK experience gets into the 20s and we all start to suffer. Howdy, Jacker. How are you doing, Colin? Yeah, it's a warm one. There's and you're here cold. I would swap. I love being cold. There were last weekend. There were three lovely chaps who came to the event that I was at. Came from Denmark, and I was talking to my last round opponent. I was like, I'd swap. You know, Denmark sounds pretty perfect in that it's always quite cool. I could deal with that. Is this a new method to earn subscribers? Screen expands with more subscribers. I think maybe you lot would be paying me to not expand the screen. Like that seems more likely. I'm not sure that's what you're here for on this website. Byron says, just realised the lack of clothing. Need to zoom out. Zoom out. Give the ladies something. Unfortunately, Old World is a pretty male-dominated game. I'm afraid to share with you all. It's not the biggest. It's not the most diverse of the Warhammer games. In fact, it might be the least. Maybe Heresy is less diverse, but I could be wrong. Because I can't remember if I've had this conversation on stream. I might have had it with Rob. Don't tell people what they're here for. Hey, how you doing, bud? How are you doing? I know what you're here for. What's it like up there in the north? Is it nice and cool? Is it nice and cool? I've got been doing all the methods to try and stay cool. I've emptied out my water filter, refilled it. I couldn't be bothered to go out and get some ice. That would have been nice. Just don't zoom your camera out. I'll do what I want. Fuck. That's how you'll get me. You'll get me by telling me not to do the thing that I shouldn't do. Bit George Michael. A bit what? There we go. It's a bit wham. Bit wham. I've obviously been in the Midlands for too long. Take my northerner card away from me. Take my northerner card away. Well, hope things going well. Just in general. I should probably... You know what? We could probably just get started. I don't think I've got much to update you all on. Life's just pretty alright. The event last weekend was good. Meta video, I think. Pretty well received. Viewership is a bit lower than I'd hoped for, but it's not awful. Put one of those out every week. Should be very doable. Basically, it's hey, thank you, Phil. Appreciate you. Does it tell me what tier? No. Okay. Well, I appreciate you no matter what it is. Oh, Grail Knight. God damn. Thank you, Phil. That's super kind of you. Remind me if you could post in the Needs Roll channel. I definitely need to be reminded in 2 hours' time to make sure you get your roll. Like the meta video for sure. Nice. I think there was some fun stuff in there. There was a couple of interesting comments that I got in terms of people saying, I like this or I like this more or less. So I've got a couple of ideas about tweaking the format ever so slightly, but it's going to be basically the same thing. Maybe it'll be something that I even do timestamps for. Famously a hater of timestamps. Or doing them myself. I love it when someone else does them for me, but in terms of me putting the effort in, it's just like when each video I mean, you've seen the numbers, right? Or you can see the numbers. You can see how much that I make from each video. I think I talked about at the start of the year. If that video, like if I look right now, it's currently made me about a fiver. It's already taken me about 30 minutes on Monday, 30 minutes on Tuesday, and then 30 minutes recording, some editing time as well. We're getting into woefully low rates of pay per hour. Not that you do everything for, you know, that, but in terms of like justifying the time to do the timestamps, it's another hassle for sure. Oh, you're still in? Perfect. Perfect. Risks Gorilla. After all the chore hype, I've printed some hobgoblins. Ooh. Should they only be just taller than night goblins? I think that sounds about right. Yeah, that would be about what I'd expect for hobgoblins. In terms of they should be about the same size, but less hunched over would be my expectation. Like in my head, all goblins are roughly the same size. I will say I'm not the lore channel. I'm definitely not the person to come to in terms of like the absolute specificity. That word. But yeah, that's what I'd expect. They are pretty weedy. You know, they're T3. You can give them some equipment, but a 3-point per model, having them small, I think feels quite good. You wouldn't want them towering over your dwarves as well. But if you're playing the draft, I think the actually just running dwarves is really doable now. Less sweeping generalizations about goblin. That's true. You're a massive goblin. You're in aura the size of that goblin, absolute unit. They're a diverse crowd. You know, that's so fair, and that's so wrong of me. And I should do, and I should be better. Thank you, Dave, for keeping me to task. Evening, Paulie. Every time I see your username, I think of Paulie Shaw, which I think that ages me. That dates me as someone who is not as young as they maybe once were. I hope this doesn't come up with like just a picture of men naked or something. But for anyone who's not aware, oh, he got old. I guess that is how aging works. But wait, that's not who I thought it was. I thought Paulie Shaw was someone from Jersey Shore. You know why that is? Because Paulie sounds like it's from New Jersey, and then Jersey Shore. Okay, never mind. I think of something that doesn't exist when I see your name. I'm not going to read Boris's comment while Dave's here. I don't want to spark goblin and human tensions. That seems like it would be a terrible move. A terrible move. But let's start off with this. This is right now. I literally just hopped out of the shower because I was like, I need to cool down. So cold shower, one fan on one side, one fan moving all the hot air from the computer away from me because it's right next to me. But I feel like my level of comfort is going to go down pretty significantly over the next hour and a half or 2 hours. So we'll start off and then see how quickly I'm going to have to get through lists. Whoa. All right. I saw Paulie here. Paulie says, this is a Wood Elf list based on the miniatures you have rebased for Old World from my old 8th edition army. Nice. Not sure where to go first to make it more competitive. Painting even a single unit is a large investment for me these days. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. Okay, so in terms of what we've got a Warhawk character, which I struggle to see how to make. Like, I'm not 100% sure how to make a Warhawk character good in terms of like the amount of investment you get put into them to make them. Like a Stag character is very good, but a Warhawk character I think is quite limited. Spellweaver's good, and then you've got a Captain, Wild Rider Kindred, okay. Glade Guard, Eternal Guard, Deepwood Scouts, Glade Riders, Wild Riders, Tripkin. Okay, so I think like across the whole there, units are pretty good, I would say. These 5 Eternal Guard don't need to exist. I'm not sure they're managing anything. You could put them in like a marching column dart, but I'm not really sure that there's anything that I want to support in that way. It's not like you've got anything unbreakable that you would use them to back up. And yeah, I'm just not sure that they're going to do very much for you. The Deepwood Scouts and the Glade Guard, all solid. The Glade Riders, solid. The Treekin are solid. No, they are not great, but they're not terrible. If you just want something to sort of like anchor a flank, they're not the worst thing in the world. The problem is, in terms of how fantasy plays, there are editions where that is better, and this is one of the editions where having like a slow, tanky unit that doesn't really do much damage doesn't do as much unless you've got the forces to support it. So they're not terrible, but they're just not going to do a huge amount for you. Wild Riders are the opposite in that they are the glass cannons, but they're actual cannons. A lot of elves are meant to be like glass cannons, but these Wild Riders hit pretty darn hard. So we can look at that. I don't know how you make the Warhawk Rider competitive. I think if you're trying to make it a competitive list, this character probably needs to be changed, unfortunately. But most everything else you've got in here is solid. An easy way to do it would be, I don't think Giant Blade is particularly useful on, just in general, Strength +1, AP 0, multiple wounds 2. You've got Strength 4 base, so you're going to become Strength 5. Things with multiple wounds typically have high toughness and good armor saves, or at least one of the two. So if you're going into characters, they'll probably have a good armor save. Or if they don't, a great weapon would have done, would have sufficed. Like, if you can put your attacks into a wizard, like a 2 or 3 wound wizard, the Giant Blade and a great weapon both will probably kill that wizard. Then if you're talking about something with high toughness, you're probably not getting that many wounds off because you're needing 6s to wound. So obviously, the armor bane's nice there in terms of the 6s to wound, but Giant Blade not a weapon that I'd recommend on something like a Glade Captain. I think there's very limited models that I'd be looking to put that on. Basically just something that has built-in AP and maybe even paired with Totem of Wrath. If you can get it to like AP 2 and you've got decent strength, it's like a halfway decent Ogre Blade, but at that point you're already spending points to support it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Giant Blade fan. Wild Rider Kindred to go in with the Wild Riders is very solid. I'm assuming that means that you've got 10 in total, which is fine. I quite like 6s is my problem there. Anointed Letlings is just generally solid. I think if I'm going to put this character in the unit, Befuddlement of Mischiefs is better because it lowers the enemy weapon skill. You pick a unit that's in combat with you, you lower their weapon skill by 1 and their initiative by 1, which means you probably the initiative probably doesn't matter if you've got the charge, but the weapon skill might mean that you go from hitting on 3s to 2s. Obviously, Wild Riders have pretty incredible weapon skill already, being 5 for just like a unit. So if you're going into weapon skill 3, you'd be hitting on 2s because it gets reduced down to 2, yada yada. You have a 10th Wild Rider if that helps. Nice. What I was wondering is, could you do 2 units of 6? But it sounds like that might be a little bit much to reach. Good evening, Existence. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so what if we drop this down to, let's say, 7, and we went with an Obsidian Lodestone, because this unit is very points dense, or like quite points dense, I should say. 27 points for like a hard-hitting model is not too expensive. I like giving them an Obsidian Lodestone, so they've got a little bit of resistance to stuff like Fireball or whatever. There's a decent amount of magic missiles in the meta at the moment, and I don't hate a Charm Shield. It's not super important, but I quite like having them on there. I generally don't bother with the Standard Bearer or Musician. The Standard Bearer is 50 points that is almost certainly going to be lost because this is a frenzied unit, so you're going to end up in combat. And also you've got so much hating power that the +1 combat res probably shouldn't matter. And then the Musician as well. You can run, I generally don't. They've got good leadership. If they're not going to panic, they're not going to flee because they're frenzied. If they fail a break test and run, you're not unlikely to rally them in terms of having Lord Leadership and all that good stuff there. So I think 7 or 6 with a character. In fact, maybe we just make it 6 plus a character, which means that they're still roughly a usable unit in terms of not being too unwieldy on the tabletop. I do like a Charm Shield on here. It probably won't come up because you've got a great weapon, or I've given you a great weapon, but it's not a bad one to have. You know what? Ariel's Favor is not awful for MR2. Maybe we go for that over the Obsidian Lodestone on the unit champion. If we're putting a character in there anyway, I do quite like the Great Weapon character. It gives you just a little bit more oomph because you've got a frontage of 5 attacks, but they're strength 6 because of the great weapon. So I think you get quite a lot out of that. You can also go for the Ariel's favor, Orion's favor. That's the one. And then that one character can really punch above their weight with 5 attacks. Other things you can do if you wanted to, you could give them the magic armor. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. You could give the magic armor here. What's it called? Helm of the Hunt. Gives you +1 attack, which is less important because of the Furious Charge and Frenzy you've got. But it also gives you +1 weapon skill, gets you to 7. Which means that even if you, with your Befuddlement of Mischiefs, even if you're going into weapon skill 4, you'll be dropping them to weapon skill 3, you'll be hitting them on 2. So there's a couple of bits and pieces that you could do there, but it does become quite pricey without adding that much on top of it. So I think just the Magic Resist 2 item, Charm Shield, it's more expensive than you were running, but it's, you know, we've freed up some points elsewhere. Other than that, this unit of Glade Riders, True Flight Arrows, because you've only got one, I really like Arcane Bodkins. And let's give them the banner of Springtide as well, which gives them quick shot. So now you can move and shoot. You still take cover penalty, but yeah, whatever. You're going to take some penalty anyway. We don't have to worry about drilled, because you're going to be having them in skirmish as well. Just saves you a couple of points there. I guess it does allow you to march at all times, but you've got reserve moves, so you should never need to march with them. Yeah, that looks fine there. And then this unit here, you've given them Swift Shiver Charge. Swift Shiver Charge. Not mathematically particularly great, unfortunately, because you're shooting Strength 3, AP 0, Armor Bane 1 shots. Doubling that up at a penalty of -1 to hit when you're probably already shooting at long range suddenly doesn't become... It's not great. Modifiers, the more modifiers you stack, the more each one hurts you. So if you were hitting on 3s all of the time and you went to 4s, you're losing a quarter of your output, but you're doubling the number of shots. That's really good. If you're hitting on 5s becoming 6s, then you're halving your output, but you're doubling your number of shots. So it just becomes equal. With that in mind, pay the same points, Arcane Bodkin. The Glade Guard probably aren't going to move. If you're going to put them in 16 models, how would I put them? I guess like 2 ranks of 8, but that doesn't feel great for Folly Fire. That's not the end of the world. You generally just want an odd number. Yeah. So my vitamin gummies. I forgot to have them earlier. Yeah. You can Vanguard them as well. I don't hate Vanguard, honestly, because it lets you, if you're deployed on an like a flank, you can Vanguard forwards and then move, just your movement, and that lets you get in range of an objective on some maps while still being able to shoot. It's not huge, but for a point per model, it's fine. You can also do Fire and Flee. I'm not generally a fan of Fire and Flee on Glade Guard. You only go back the highest of 2d6 inches as if you were fall back in good order, but you don't have... Is it Feigned Flight that makes you auto-rally? It's been a while since I've played my... run around and run away bullshit. Son of on a Friday, so there's a Discord link down below, and I open up submissions on a Friday morning, UK time, and then close them at around 6 o'clock. So if you join the Discord next week, I'll put an announcement out on... Well, sorry, not next week, actually, that's not true, because I'll be driving down to Essex, because I'll be streaming the Saffron Slam. I'd forgot about that. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be back to do another stream. Maybe I'll pull one of these out on another day. I don't know. My next week's looking pretty busy, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Deepwood Scouts. The Deepwood Scouts, you can go Arcane Bodkins. I wouldn't go Hagbane Tips. With Poison being nerfed, it's just not mathematically as good as it used to be. This one. Okay, so I wouldn't run a standard in them, but I'd give both the musicians like so. And then, where have you gone? Banner of Midsummer's Eve. What does that do? You can always cover. I don't hate that, honestly. That's not terrible on a unit that's going to sit back and try and ping some Arcane Bodkins out. Means that if you're shooting into enemy skirmishing peasants, it just reduces the number of modifiers before you know, because you don't need to wipe full units, you just need to take them off scoring, right? Spellweaver, Oakenstave, Heartwood Pendant, Lord of the Wilds. If you're a foot wizard, I'm not sure Lore of the Wilds is that important. What are you looking for here? Yeah, I think I would just go battle magic or elementalism, realistically, and stick with the oaken stave. That is very solid, increasing your defensive range. And really, you're looking for stuff like Plague of Rust, because Plague of Rust will juice up a lot of your output. Ideally, you'd have this wizard on a horse, but we're just going with what you've got there, so I don't want to tweak that too much. I think this Glade Lord, I don't know how to make this playable, would be the way I'd describe this, because it's your lords, it's your highest leadership, it's your general. It's going to be very points dense. It's like, what, 385 points if it dies. It's only 3 wounds at T4, and then in terms of armor save, you've got... Sorry, your T5, because aspect to the bear for the +1 strength and toughness, right? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, you've only got a... Warhawk doesn't give you anything, does it? No, it literally just a 5-up armor save, because you haven't even given him a shield. So it's a 6-up armor save. This model's just going to die very quickly, and I don't see a way to get use out of them. What I would... Scout Kindred Wizard, you could do that. I don't know that I care about putting them up the board. If you're going for like a lore familiar character for a certain job, a level 2 lore familiar power scroll elementalism caster maybe to like early Plague of Rust and try and get some damage there. You've done that Glade build, it's hilarious for 1 turn. Yes, I think that is very much what I would expect to see. In terms of, it doesn't feel like you've got very much direct killing power. So if you were going to add one thing, I would recommend, and feel free to not do this, obviously, but I would recommend the classic Lord on Dragon. In terms of, if you're going to add one model, it's... I mean, monsters take a while to paint, but so do units. So it's like, if you were adding one unit, this would be the thing that I'd recommend in terms of like the most direct power. You'll get a lot out of this compared to running something else. And I'd go Armor of Meteoric Iron. I would go... Where's it gone? Talisman Protection. Cool. And then we're going Kindred, Aspect of the Cat, which gives you rerolls to hit in a challenge. This is just for your rider, not the mount, but you've got a great weapon, so you may as well. And then on top of that, we'll go Resplendent Illuminescence to give you magical attacks, and an Annoyance Netlings, so you're -1 to hit in a challenge. And it just means you're a really beefy single character. You have the Sisters Dragon, that'll be fun to paint. Amazing. I love that model so much. That was one of the things that made me really, really interested in Wood Elves when it came out in, 20 years ago or whatever it was. Really, really big fan of that sculpt. And I remember getting I think it must have been the 6th edition army book for them. Spending ages looking at it and then never actually collecting them. I don't know. Probably a little bit too big brain for me to manage at that age. I was very much put my toys on the table and run forwards and no brain, only go. Okay, so we need to shave 101 points, which if we're doing that, I think I really want to drop the Wild Riders. We could drop 1 Treekin. Also, I wouldn't recommend having a unit champion for monstrous infantry, because having a unit champion means you can be challenged out. So a dragon could go into you and then just get loads of combat res into the unit champ and win the combat guaranteed, because you've got like no static combat res. At least with leaving it without, however many of them are alive can then try and fight into it. And you have got Tree Whack, which, if I remember correctly, does have a decent okay, so it's no armor save, auto hits if they fail an initiative test, I think it is. Initiative test. So, I mean, it's not good, but it's one of the things you can do. And then we need to shave 43 points. I'd probably just chuck down to... Ooh, what are we thinking? We could just drop the Vanguard. The Vanguard's not super useful. Let me just drop a Musician on one of the units. I think I would drop it on... it doesn't really matter. Let's just drop it on the Glade Guard for now. This would be roughly how I'd take your list and go from there, I think. Principle. There we go. Perfect. All right. Who else have I seen in chat? Evening Strife, hope you're doing well. Hope you are doing well. These ads that mute the video are cursed. Ads are the worst. I would recommend ad block. I know that cuts my revenue, but I don't browse YouTube with ad block. I do just set it to whatever the default is, the balanced. I don't put it onto like high or anything like that. Although it's interesting because you can tell when YouTube's pushed some sort of like big monetization campaign, because people come into stream like, why are you putting more ads on us? I've not changed anything. Turkey Christmas. I am feeling like a turkey in this heat. All right. We're going to go from Wood Elves to Kernus, who is, that's a Wood Elf related name, and they're looking for advice on an Orc list. Looking for advice on the best way to do lots of Orc units with big bosses in them. Mostly confused about what might be the best unit sizes. Big is best, so I'm trying to stay away from goblins, which is fun. Okay. The first thing I would say is, if you're going for this, 4 boys would be the way to go, and also the Black Orcs want to be in core. Like, those things are incredibly important in my mind. So, if we're going for the orc spam, I understand that Doom Divers are goblin units. They're so good that would you be willing to use the rock lobbers? Oh wait, rock lobbers are... They have goblins on them as well. They're goblin rock lobbers. I'm going to just upgrade you to having Doom Divers. That'd be my recommendation. If you're going for 2 pieces of artillery, it's the Doom Divers. And if it's a modelling concern, just stick Orcs on there. I do think that Goblin Big Boss and Warband spam is a list can get so many of them. Well, I look forward to you ruining the game with it again. Someone told me to shame your list, which I thought was funny. I think it's interesting. Did you come up with that, by the way, the laser beam list, or did you get it from somewhere else? Because I've been attributing it to you, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so these Black Orcs are going to go into core. Because that is important. That is important. They need to be able to score. And then we'll give the boss. Let's go Charm Shield. Charm Shield Obsidian Lodestone. There's going to be multiple units. So let's maybe just lean on MR1 across the board. Even James are working at Wills. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. If at some point you want to come on and talk about it, I'd love to have you. I think it'd be funny to spread the word of the... Have you spread the word of the second Orc list that's going to dominate the meta. Okay, so character-wise, the character what needs to be a Black Orc character. We're going to go with that. What have you gone for? Chopper's Chopper, Dead Armor, Potion of Toughness. I don't think we need any of those things. We can go Black Orc War Boss. If you're going full foot, I'm just assuming here that we're going full foot. So let's go with Trollhide Trousers. And is there anything else? The Big Beams Manifesto. Yeah, just roll better, mate. That's the way to do it. Okay, so if we're going Trollhide Trousers, let's have a look at what we want to give him. I think it's probably just Great Weapon, right? Great Weapon, give him a Charm Shield in case it matters, and then, if anything, honestly, I don't mind an Icon of Fortitude on the General, because they're going to be high toughness anyway, and that way they can kind of go toe-to-toe with something a little bit tougher, but you don't really want them to fight something too big. But yeah, so we'll go the Black Orc War Boss, and then we'll get rid of War Boss there. Okay, so that's this unit, and let's give this unit the Monster Hunter Tapestry. This is going to be your mainstay big unit that's going to be in the center. We can then go with a big unit of Orc mobs. You've given them the Big Red Raggedy Flag. Let's just do the same thing. And we'll maybe come back and reassess the Obsidian Lodestone plan for Magic Resist, but this might just do for now. Biggins, light armor, great. Always give them Warbows, it's free. So you've got 35 in there. I don't mind 36 of them, honestly. Evening, Anthony. So we've got the BSB is going to join, I'm assuming, this unit, and that'll make them the second big unit. So we've got the high combat res unit with this Orc Big Boss. Honestly, you know what? If all we're doing is foot characters, we've got a load of points we can spend on saves. Let's just give him the Trollhide Trousers as well. And then got a Charm Shield in there and a Great Weapon. Looks good to me. Cool. Then I think we probably drop both of these units. We've got 2 foot units. Foot units are unfortunately not great. They're kind of incredibly mediocre. So what we're going to do is we're then going to put more... we're going to go Boar Boys. That would be my recommendation. So if we're doing Boar Boys, let's go 2 units of 7... to do Cav Spears, Heavy Armor, Shields, and Biggins. Only one of them can be Biggins. So we'll go, if we're doing 2 units, give 1 Shields, and then give this one... They both should have Shields. I've given both of them Biggins, haven't I? You muppet. You muppet. Okay, so the one without Biggins, we're going to give the Banner of Butchery, which gives you +1 strength and charge. That's going to get them to strength 5, which is going to give them a good chunk of output there. Again, let's just... for the sake of keeping things consistent. This is maybe not the best way of doing it, but you could tweak around. MR1 from the Obsidian Lodestone Charm Shield, and then the unit that is Biggins. Charm Shield, Obsidian Lodestone. Banner-wise, do they need a standard? You can only have 2 units with standard, so I'm kind of thinking maybe we don't bother with this one for a standard, and then we go for a 3rd unit, which is, again, with 7, full command. And this unit will give to Angry Lad's Flag for Frenzy. Now, I'm not a huge proponent of Frenzy, but you're going to hit real hard. You're going to have a lot of attacks. So, yeah, I think that's definitely one of the ways to go. We'll give them Obsidian Lodestone Charm Shield as well. And then we add some characters in. Ooh. We're doing pretty hefty on points. All right, so we're going to go 1 War Boss, who can go with maybe the Biggins. And I think that if they're going in the units, they're mostly going to pump the unit with extra attacks and War. So we maybe don't need to bother too much about anything that's all too important. Battle Axe, Frenzy, War Boss, maximum fun. I mean... You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's let's go with that then. You drive a hard bargain, Mr. Dave. Let's go with that. And then we go double Orc Big Boss, who's just going to go Heavy Armor, Great Weapon, War Boar, Charm Shield, on a boar. On a boar. Cool. Like so. Okay, we're a lot of points over. So this unit here doesn't need to be this big. We can go down to... We can be cheaper. And then all of these 3... Maybe the 3rd unit is too much. Maybe we just have to accept that we can only fit 2 units in here. And the Frenzied unit won't be Biggins. So we'll make this unit the Biggins unit. That'll do. And then... Huh. We have to shave 72 points. You know what? There's some extraneous stuff on here. We don't need the Icon of Fortitude. It's cool. It's cute. We don't need it. The BSB can probably manage without the Trollhide Trousers as well. And then that should take us to... a legal list. Alright. You can get Funky to have his twin brother, Effigid, more Bedazzling Helm. Yeah, cousin to the Minotaur that runs around with Bedazzling Helm and Slug Skin. And a great weapon and, like, gnarled hide as well. And you just sit there like, how do I kill this man? I guess I don't. I guess I have to just ignore them entirely. Boom. Fixed. That should be my my catchphrase. Boom, fixed. Because the year is 2001. Okay. Any naked dwarves around? Hello, it's me. Ugh. I'm already down. I don't know how much this. Oh, it says on the back. I was holding this up, going, I don't know how much water's in this. It has it on the back, the side that I never see. So I'm what? About 500 million, something like that, from the start of the stream. That we'll keep a track on how much water I drank. That's how we're going to tell how warm it is. Answer: real warm, real damn warm. Oh! You know what? If you're here and you haven't already, please give the stream a thumbs up, because that's a thing that I should do. Hello, Lachril, which I've definitely not correctly pronounced, but that is probably something along the lines of. Oh, I almost forgot it's bank holiday weekend, isn't it? Has anyone got any nice plans for the bank holiday? I don't have to work on Monday, which is nice. So we'll say that's good. Just doing something in the background. And let's run this until, what day is the bank holiday? Monday. No, we'll run it until Tuesday morning. Tuesday midday. That way no one will miss it. Gonna stain and paint. That sounds like an excellent, excellent plan. An excellent plan. I'm just editing the wrong video. I should be editing the live stream. Because I had planned to, next time a bank holiday came up, do a discount on my coaching. I then was sat here going, oh, it's the weekend. The bank holiday weekend, in fact. So, I've just launched a promotion. What's the code? BBDF1. Perfect. I have edited that into the stream. If you're interested in coaching, and I don't know how much this is going to see, because I'm only going to put it up for the weekend. But given it's the bank holiday weekend, I'm going to run a 20% off discount for first-time students. The code is in the description, BBDF1, all of that good stuff. All right. I was thinking beach, but you don't want to be on the BBC News in an epic traffic jam. That is fair. I'll just see you from the helicopter looking down. I know that, man. Okay, let's get back on track. I think we should go from Kurnos to Orcs, which was no goblins. No goblins for you. The G units list, which is pure night goblins. We'll be pivoting to a pure night goblins once they're painted up. War boss is a gobbo on Colossus Squig. Any pointers? Okay. First of all, one more unit of night goblins, please. That is the first pointer. Double Doom Diver, double Mangler Squig. Great stuff. Like that here. So let's just duplicate this and make sure that we're running the maximum Fanatics, because that's where a lot of the power is going to come from in terms of the actual output there. Okie dokie. Netters. I mean, you've got one unit with a war banner. There's no harm in having netters on that unit. I think netters are more fun in theory than they are in practice. I find it's funny to roll, and it's funny to nerf your own strength, and then you're like, oh wait, nothing actually happened. Ooh, hold on now. War boss is gobbo on Colossal Squig, but you've got a wyvern. You've got a war boss and a wyvern. What's going on here? This feels like cheating. This feels like cheating. Alright, assuming you're allowing yourself one. What have you got? You've got a level 4 wizard with Isle of Gork and War Magic. That's just a good caster. Plus range on spellcasting, reroll one of your spells, and 4 spells in War Magic. War Magic is a lore that you can very comfortably just have 4 spells rolled in. Yeah. Then we've got the Night Goblin War Boss. Giant Cave Squig, Walker's One Hit Wonder, Paymaster's Coin, Charm Shield, Ever. I think, honestly, too much commitment. I think too much commitment. All we need here to be happy is the Walloper's One Hit Wonder. And 103 points. 4 attacks with that thing is very funny. And then you've got the squig as well. I'd give it a charm shield. Oh, you've given it a charm shield. Excellent work. So that's good stuff there. Then we've got another one. Then you've got one with charm shield, headbutt, and hat. The problem is it's the strength of the war boss, right? So it's strength 4. And let's just have a look here. Impact hits 1, AP 2. I don't know that I care enough about a single impact hit on top of this. Cave Squid gives you impact hits, doesn't it? D3. But it doesn't give you anything. It like buffs it up slightly. I think just keeping it cheap is probably the way to go. Like the less money that, like the less points you lose from these, and you're already going for the top level characters, right, with the war bosses instead of big bosses. I think it's better just to, in fact, this one probably should just be a big boss. You're not getting as much out of it if you haven't got the fancy weapon. So I think it's just Cave Squig, Great Weapon, Light Armor, Charm Shield. Cool. And then BSB, On Foot, Fungus Wine, Armor of Mork. Not a bad shout, but we can upgrade it to give you a Charm Shield as well. Yep, that all looks good. Sweet. You always forget after the Wallopers charge can use a Great Weapon. No, it's still a magical hand weapon, unfortunately. Phil says, I think you should get rid of all of the Night Goblins and replace them with Snotlings. That is one approach that you could go for. I'm not sure I would. I think here, personally, just keep it cheap, keep it small. 6 models, wouldn't bother about the extra attacks from the boss. You're not worried about leadership because you're immune to psychology. Just keep them small, make it a small footprint, hide them behind terrain, make it difficult for your opponent to see you, and then run around and be a real pain in the backside. Okay, and then points-wise, we're struggling a little bit here in terms of 48 points over. I think we'll probably just sacrifice the War Banner and the Netters here, which gets us very close, and then we're only 3 points over, at which point, I think I've doubled up on shields. That's 1 point over. Oh, who can we shave a singular point from? I guess maybe one of the units of Fanatics loses a musician or something like that? Sure. That seems to be fine to me. But yeah, if you're doing it like that, the main thing is just getting that 4th unit of Fanatics, honestly. G units. Nice and easy one. You're painting a Night Goblin boss on Giant Squig right now for 46. Nice! When is 46? TSN, Canada's Sport Leader. What does TSN stand for? The Sport Network, probably. TSN Arena. That's what I was looking for. July 6th. July 6th. June 20th for the next full-scale event. I wonder if I could have my next army built and painted by then. I'd like to try some stuff out that's different. July 4th. I don't think I'm doing anything July 4th. How are tickets looking at that one? They are... Ooh, currently lots of tickets available. I think generally in the summer, events are a little bit slower to fill up. But yeah, if you haven't been and you're considering it, the foray events are so much fun. Just try to bring something that's not 6 wizards. Oh, you were close enough. July 4th, July 6th. It's, 2 days apart. By the time we get there, we'd know, right? Sweet. All right, so what have we done? I've not moved them to the top because I'm a fool. I'm a damned fool, in fact. Let's drag all this up here. Normally, I reorder my list so I can remember what I've done and I don't miss anyone whose list is on here. Okay, so we've done 3. We've done Wood Elves and we've done double Greenskins. Let's change the vibe up. Let's change the vibe up entirely, in fact, and let's go for... Nope, that's also Elves. More Orcs. There's a lot of Orcs in here. What are we thinking? It's the best. Yeah, it's good. It feels like actual Warhammer. Because you're like, hey, I brought a ranked up unit, and it did a thing, and I feel good about that. I think it depends how you want to build it. The list that I built were definitely more like... I want to run a specific thing or specific theme. Alright, we're going to have a look at Giles' list. Giles points denial. Gotta look at Discord to see what the context for this list was. Ooh, I'm starting to get warm already. Starting to get warm. Giles says, I can't stop thinking about Dwarven blocks of Grimling Grummel. Glittering Grommel, even. In this heat, I can stop thinking about it. The smell would be heinous. I also can't figure out how to make them not terrible. That's fair. This is the list so far. I don't like the Warriors or Missile Troop kits, so try not to take them unless absolutely necessary. A unit of Core Longbeards are mandatory, but otherwise anything else is up for grabs. Want to make a non-X-Force Dwarf works. I don't enjoy entrenching every 5 minutes. Valid. Grommel, baby. Hey, you're here. Perfect. Where's the coat? Matthew, I'm confused. Alright, so you've got Rangers and Longbeards. Generally a pretty good core choice in my book. Hammerers, Cannon, Copters. Right. The problem with running non-core infantry is they don't score and they're slow. So I'm not really sure what they do, especially for dwarves. That's the issue that I think you're going to have. If I was... You can only have one unit of Longbeards, can't you? I think. Yeah. You can only have one unit of Rangers in core. This could be a Royal Clans list. That's a valid shout. I need to remind myself what goes in Royal. Funnily enough, I've only been looking at X-Force Dwarves for the last sort of 6 months, so yeah. Let's have a look here. Can you go... No, you can't go Hammers and Core. There's no way to do that. Royal Clan Warriors. How about... Yeah. How about Royal Clan Warriors using the Hammerer kit? Or Longbeards using the Hammerer kit. Both are fine. Not against Royal Clan. Yeah, it does make the melee version better. It's probably the best way to do things. It's a good shout from Strife. So, what had you gone with? What was your general approach? Triple Rune of Fury. I like the Triple Rune of Fury. I like it more than the Rune of Slaying at the moment. Grommel, and then you've gone for the Thane, Rune of Passage. Okay, cool. So, let's start off with just literally the same build here. Shield Bearers. Triple Fury, because that's +3 attacks with your Great Weapon. Rune of Grommel, Rune... It also allows you to take the Rune of Fortitude, which is the immune... Nope, it doesn't. The Rune of Preservation, which is the rune which is immune to multiple wounds and killing blow, which is quite nice if you are an infantry character here. And then we're going to go with a Thane, who is going to be the BSB, obviously the Rune of Grugni, and then it's good to give them... Honestly, I'd like having them on the Shield Bearers, but I think just logistically, it becomes a little bit clunky to fit everything around. Rune, I like Rune of Grugni, Rune of Battle, and then Strollus's Rune. I avoid Rune of Confusion and Rune of Hesitation, because then people just don't charge you. What you want is for them to charge you, because you've teched them to being as tanky as possible. So I like having them not impossible to fight. Rune of Passage on there as well is important, but I don't think there's really anything else in here that's super important to have. No, that's fine. Then you had a Rune Lord. How did you have your Rune Lord set up? I do like a Rune Lord. What have you gone with? Calm, double spell breaking. Honestly, valid. Gives the unit MR2, and then I think what I'd probably do is if we're going 2 units, I'd probably go double Rune Smith would be the way to do it. Great Weapon Shield, and then you can go Balance and Spell Breaking, and then the other one just has Spell Breaking. Like so. No cannons or copters if that's the deal, but yeah, that's true. It's call points now, right? So not charging you is good. If you want to score a draw every game, then play dwarves. But if you want to try and win games, you gotta do something else, unfortunately. And let's also, speaking of winning games, let's put a little bit of pressure in, and we'll go for the accuracy, rapid fire, bursting flame, Thane, because it is so good. And then we'll go Passage and Furnace so that you can walk around terrain if you need to. It's just generally solid. Okay. Then we're going to go a big unit of Longbeards. What numbers did you go with? You went with 20. Probably more than that, I would think. We'll see how we get to in terms of Fields drilled. We're going to put 4... Actually, we'll go 19, right? Because you're going to put the King and the Thane and in there. Oh, 18. King, Thane, and Runesmith. But then you'd have to be 7 wide, actually. So 7, 14, 21. Plus 3. That's... no, we want to be 28. As in 7 by 4. So the King is going to take up 4. 24, 22. Let's go 22. We can tweak that. We can always drop that if we need to, but I like trying to make make base look good. Like movement tray look nice. And then we'll go for a second unit. Honestly, it probably is just Longbeards again. And I'd just use, if you really like the hammer models, for example, just use them. Bit of Van Morrison. Because it's so hot, I've immediately forgotten everything I've said. Oh, did I give them... let's give them Rune of Battle. And... Oh, Rune of Courage, really important. Really, really important. You do not want all of your expensive Death Star dwarves to flee off the table. As someone who's done that to a dwarf player with their leadership 10 brick with the BSB, not that the BSB matters for Terra, you definitely always want to have that. Courage Battle and I guess Strollus's Rune. So both of them can Vanguard forwards. I don't think Vanguarding forwards is super important, but it's just a case of... Yeah, it's one of the options. Actually, no, let's not bother. Let's go Rune of Fear. I think Rune of Fear is quite nice as the other one. Question, if you have MR2, needs an 8 to cast a spell, the enemy wizard rolls the... All the -2 for magic resist does is it modifies the number. The way that they're casting, like, level of wizardry modifies it. It's the same for magic resist. So if you roll a 7 and you're a level 3 wizard, you add 2 and then you -2 for the magic resist. Okay. This unit can be... It has less stuff in. This one doesn't have to be as wide. This is probably going to be 6 wide, so we go 24 becoming 22, right? Something like that. And that way you're putting almost all of your points into them, and then on top of that, we need one more unit, which, never mind, I know exactly what to put in here. Is it in special? Dwarf cut, dwarf cut. Get that movement up, boy. And then, I guess, honestly, a couple of grudge throwers for a little bit of ranged pressure is not the end of the world. Oh, I wouldn't have gone stalwart. I clicked the wrong thing. I meant reloading. So we'll go reloading, and then the second one we can go forging, because we're not going to be messing around with engineers in Royal Clan, because look at that. You can't. And then with 30 points over. So, I guess the secondary unit can go down like this. And then the way to play this, the way that I've seen most successful dwarf players with 2 units like this, is you keep the characters able to move between the 2 units. Then if one's going to get charged, you can just put the fighty characters in there. Alright. And this was Giles. Good shout, Strife, on moving this over to Royal Clan. It's not one that I've looked at for a little while, so it's good to have. Good to have. Okie dokie. Perfect, perfect stuff. We've gone from dwarves. Let's go to the exact opposite of dwarves, which is minotaurs. They're hairy, and they smell, and they're like axes. Wait a second. Dwarves and minotaurs are exactly the same. Huh. Huh. You're welcome, Charles. Hopefully that is at least halfway useful to play around with. So we'll look at Slayer's list. It says, want to make minotaurs work somehow? Ambush minotaurs. So, is this Grand Army? Oh, it's Grand Army. Okay. I thought it was, no. Okay, fair enough. Sure. So, in terms of the list, we've got a Beast Lord with the Horn of the Great Hunt, full plate chaos armor, Scimitar of Skultar. Okay, Horn of the Great Hunt. That's the ambushes, right? That doesn't need to go on the general, I don't know. But I guess, since it's not Wild Herd, we can't go for the usual Black Maul build, so maybe that is the best place for it. And it's going to be a 2-up armor save with a 5-up ward. The Scimitar of Skultar is pretty solid. You start off at strength 5, right? Scimitar is +1 strength, I think, if I remember correctly. No, strength user. AP1 becoming AP2 because of Gouge Tusk. So it'll be strength 5, AP2, multiple wounds 2. It's okay. I feel like we're leaving some output on the table there, honestly. We've got the Great Bray Shaman with ambushes, demonology, Hagtree Fetish, Ruby Ring, Heavy Chaos Armor. Probably want to start this on the board, but it's nice to have the option. Then we've got the demonology level 2 Power Scroll, Belt of Midnight. And then we've got the War Gold BSB, Slug Skin, Vitriolic Totem, Charm Shield, Path of the Dark Young. Okay, I don't think... I know people like Vitriolic Totem. Is that what I think this needs? Oh, you've got Monster Hunter Tapestry already. Yeah, no, it probably is the second best one to go for. You can always go Black Maul and Meteor Archine. You can. I don't know. I think without the full setup, it worries me a little bit in terms of what you can go for there. I feel like its potential's a little bit wasted. 4 attacks at strength 5 is not the scariest, but I don't know how we change things around there. The Gore, Scourge the Burden, Montan Tapestry. I actually don't know that we need Scourge the Burden on here. Like, I know it's run in every Beastman list, but I feel like that's mostly for the wizardry. And the whole point of this is that, you know, you can put the Great Bray Shaman with the Ungor for skirmish. So I don't actually feel like we need Scourge the Burden. I'm going to leave it on. Like, it's not bad to have. It gives you more positioning because you can move open order, quick turn, and then move again. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. Single spawn, Herdstone, Minotaur Herd with the blackened plate. I wouldn't bother with magic armor. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't bother with magic armor because you can't abuse Motley Crew anymore. It's specifically non-magical armor. So the unit champion being hard to kill is kind of not that relevant in my mind. Beastman is the extra charge range, right? Yes. 4 great weapons, 2 shields. Give him a charm shield. I don't hate that at all. And then I don't think we need anything else in here, do we? No, that's fine. I don't mind the ambushing Minotaur unit. I think some armies are going to find it hard to deal with. Not all armies, but some armies are definitely going to find it a pain in the backside. I also don't mind a musician because you're going to be in the back line, so you're probably, you know, you got a slightly better than 50% chance of passing your panic tests. Having the ability to rally, or if you break and flee, having the ability to rally is quite nice there. Double Razor Gore, Ungor, Minotaur, Herdstone. The main thing you're lacking is anything to hold the Herdstone. I think the more I see Beastman list, the more I really like the unit of 5 Harpies as sort of like the default stands behind the Herdstone or goes and messes with someone. So that's probably the way that I'd go there. And then we just need to find some points, which a little bit hard to do. Honestly, I don't know that the wizard needs the heavy chaos armor. If they're going to be with a unit, like maybe you could lose that. I'm not going to take it off because if you feel like you want it to live, that's fine. But yeah, and also demonology is an odd choice, I think, for this character. Normally you see elementalism. Maybe there's a goal there, so I'm not going to tweak it, but I think it's just going to be... I think it will have to be losing the heavy chaos armor, honestly. I don't think it's going to fit in, unfortunately. Then we just got to lose a couple of these. And we can put a musician... No, we can't put a musician on there. You can always go Black Maul, Meteor Archine, Icicle, Gold Chaos Armor is an option 2. Will be for Vessel and Steed for the big boss. It shouldn't be, because we've got a level 2 wizard here for Vessel and Steed. And this is an ambush character with the Hagtree Fetish, so I'm not really sure what the aim is there. I'd say Elementalism would probably be the better choice, but I just wouldn't put my Hagtree Fetish character in ambush, honestly. But that is kind of like the goal of the list, so within the constraints of that, I think this is the better way to do it. But yeah, I think you just put it on the board to start off with, honestly. Got them confused? Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. Right, what are we up to next? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? We should do... Move done some Minotaurs. I want to spread out the Orcs, because there's a few of them. There's another Beastmen list as well, another Wood Elf list, another Dwarf list. There's a lot of repetition this evening. Let's have a look at... You know what? Let's have a look at Two Hands' Empire. This is my new tournament list. I'd like to keep the free company somehow, because I like the unit. Not aiming for the stars, just want to see if you make some optimization. Oh boy. I mean, 15 of them, honestly, that's fine. They're going to do absolutely nothing, but they're only 90 points. So if you want to put your pet unit in, having them at 90 points is the best way to do it. I would put a unit champion in there, though. So at least if they get charged by something that's like a solo character, they can threaten to hold on for a second. So let's go to 16, so you can go 3x5, get 2 ranks of combat rares, 2 ranks of leadership as well, even if your unit champion dies. Okie dokie. So it's very much like a grab bag of Empire. It's kind of like, these are all the units I want to run. They're not bad units, but Singleton is not the way that Empire does well. I would say minimum, let's make a second cannon. I think if you can... I'd prefer 3, but I think you can get away with 2 cannons in terms of like putting range pressure down. 2 cannons is still fine. And then we need... Don't need, but you probably should run an engineer with them. The Road Wardens, the Pistoliers... Wait, hold on. Have you just renamed them? Is that what you've done? These are just Pistoliers, aren't they? No, wait. They are Road Wardens. What the hell? You've really confused me by renaming this. This is Road Wardens. Yeah. Okay. Just a note for people submitting lists. Please don't rename your units to other units. It will break my brain, it turns out. Okay. So, we've got... if we go for double cannon steam tank, the steam tank's not bad. It gives you a little bit of like tank and a half cannon on there. Pistoliers, the Road Wardens are very good. Having them with ambushes and pistols is excellent. Demigryph Knights. The problem with Demigryph Knights is it's very hard to keep them alive. Like, a lot of stuff that's good in the meta will just feast on them at the moment. They're not a bad unit, but they don't do... What they don't do is not useful in the meta right now. However, if you're doing that, you should be going with probably Icon of Maw and give them Terror. I think that's probably the best way to run them. And then we'll go... Okay. And then we'll put Magic Resist 2 on the unit. I think it's worth protecting... Oh, for God's sakes. The... Why is my brain turned off? Witch Hunter Sword. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Yeah, there we go. We can give them a Charmed Shield as well. You may as well. If you're going for a unit champion, you may as well give them a Charmed Shield. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, what else we got? We're very over on the core. The Knights of the White Wolf. I don't hate the Knights of the White Wolf. I think they're pretty solid. I would say either go for a Magic Standard or don't bother with a Standard. I think I would probably just keep them a little bit cheaper. Drilled and Stubborn are both very, very good on them, though. And then character-wise, General Hans von Lowenhach is solid. The Captain BSB Monster Hunter Tapestry, obviously going with Veteran State Troops, very good choice. Let's give them a Charm Shield because we want the BSB to not die immediately if possible. Master Mage, Lore Familiar, Demonology. I don't think you need that. Like, you can Steed a Shadow the Veteran State Troops around, but they're not going to kill much. Even... Oh, you've given them Halberds. I guess with Halberds they maybe do some damage. I would probably not bother. I'd just leave this as like a stands on an objective and gets points unit, but if you want to do it that way. We can drop the Priest Sigmar because we need to free up some points. Okay. Cool. We're a little bit overburdened. It's not a problem. It just like made me... I looked at them and it like I could not understand what was going on because they were called two things. We're going to get rid of the State Missile Troops. I don't dislike them. I think they're solid. But we need to free up some points here. Okay. And then what else have we got? Demigryph Knights, Pistoliers, Great Cannon, Steam Tech. We do need to just shave some points here. Need to shave some points. Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna say it's not the Master Mage. It's a Wizard Lord, level 3, Battle Magic, and then Lore Familiar. I genuinely think this will get you a lot further, because then you can just Oaken Shield every turn, get a 5 at ward save, and keep them alive. That would be my got State Troops. No, the State Troops are good. State Troops are solid. You don't want to get rid of them. They drop the halberds, run them as hand weapon shields. Yes, that's a good point. Now that I've taken away the Demonology Wizard, hand weapon shield is going to be more correct. Oh, you didn't have shields on them. Always run shields. Even if you're running halberds, always run shields. I think you can get away without drilled. I wouldn't bother. 30 is a bit much. You want to keep the rank bonus for as long as possible. We definitely need the Witch Hunter's Ward and Charmed Shield. So I'd like 30, but I'm going to go down to 27 because there's going to be 3 characters added to it. But you want it to be as beefy as possible because the Griffin Standard gives you so much and you don't want to lose that bonus. Okay, we're struggling on points here. Struggling on points. Let's drop the Engineer. It's nice to have, but it's a luxury. Knights of the White Wolf will drop the Standard Bearer. We don't need a Musician because we've got Drilled. We'll drop Stubborn because it's pricey, and then maybe go down to 6. And that way we can still punch relatively hard. We need the Witch Hunter's Ward on there as well. Curses. How do you feel about the Steam Tag? It's fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's okay. I think we have to go down to 3 Demigryph Knights, which frees up a chunk of points, and then we can go back to still like Stubborn, and no Stubborn for us, apparently. Gonna go to there, and then I guess we go something like that. You could tweak around with the individual number of models. That's not a problem too much. It might not need 6 red ones. Yeah, like 5 is fine. I like 6 for my cavalry. I feel like you want to be able to do something with a unit. You don't want to just have them immediately fall over and die. But, yeah. Yes. Could shave some points there. Potentially. Especially because they're coming on as an ambusher. You are welcome, 2 hands. You are welcome. Okay, so let's go to what do we want to go to here? Let's do something a little bit different again, and we'll go to Malik Moore's Wolves of the Sea, I think. Let's have a look. There was some context posted in the Discord. Let's see what he said. That's not that one. For a tournament tomorrow. Okay, trying a bit more of spamming Berserker. I know the banner on them isn't that good, but I only have 29 with the banner. Or maybe drop the other squad to 6, I see. So you also have 140 points left, and you wonder what would be cool to take. I have a Chariot, some Sorcerers, Dogs, Skinwolves, and or a BSP. You've gone very light on characters. And Old World is a character edition, and Chaos is a character army. So I think I would start off by thinking about what other characters you could fit in. Double Gigantic Spawn is super fine. The Huskarls are solid enough. Where you've gone Flails, Shields, Drilled, Undivided, Natural Fortitude, and Dark Hearts. And then this one is no banner, but the rest the same. Shields, Drilled, Natural Fortitude, and Long Striders. Is that, remind me, it's Vanguard? Yeah. Okay, cool. Both of those are fine. Where's the banner that you said? Yeah, we'll take the standard off them. Actually, 16 is probably a big enough problem that I don't hate having them there. Let's give them the throwing axes, though, so they can do something the turn they come in. Same here, same here. It's not going to be a lot, but it gives you a little bit of pressure the turn you come in, at least. Then you've got... Okay, so you haven't given any of your units magic resist, which I would recommend. Brazen Collar, Charm Shield. Brazen Collar, Charm Shield. I don't think you did it on the... Oh, the Chaos Lord's got the Brazen Collar? We don't need to put it on there. That's fine. Honestly, maybe it's Paymaster's Coin. How many points you got here? Yeah. I don't hate a Paymaster's Coin. If you go in Cackling Blade, I do not hate Paymaster's Coin. Got Totem of Wrath? Yeah. With the amount of attacks that you're throwing out, just getting the rerolls to hit there can be quite nice, I think. Skin Walls are fine. If... yeah, I mean, they're monstrous infantry, right? They're nice because they're fast. They can pick on some things. You can run them up a flank, I think they're pretty solid there. These Marauders definitely want to go with... If it's your brick, let's go MR2 Charm Shield. You've gone for Monstrum's Tapestry, Hand Weapons, Shields, Close Order, and Natural Fortitude. I wouldn't mind more models in this unit, but that's a little hard to fit in. And then you've got these two units. You've got a 7 and 6. I'm just going to drop it to 6 for now, because I feel like we don't need the 7th one. And then what have you got here? So you've got... Second Blade, Enchanting Aura for Strikes Last, Chaos Steed. Dark Hearts, does that have to be the entirety of the unit, or is it the majority of the unit? The majority. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine. So, I think I'd put a second character in. That would be how I'd go. I think you could probably drop something in here in terms of core. You don't need as much as you've got. Or maybe the Skin Walls. Like, I'm not super sold on the Skin Walls. Like, if you want some more punch, maybe the way that you want to do this is add punch to the second unit of Huskarls, who would then have to lose their Longstrider. No, you can put the Longstrider on the Exalted Champion, I guess. No, you can't, because it's what they have. So if we change to the Longstrider, which gives you Vanguard over to Dark Hearts, which is the -1 leadership, and then you go for an Exalted Champion, and just add a bit of up to them, because they're both drilled, right? This unit can run around as 6x2. Oh, you've got Mark of Corn though. Yeah, okay. I feel like yeah, we definitely looked at this list before. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to just like echo what I said. I'm pretty sure the last time we talked about it, I talked about how just running dragons is going to be more effective. But this is if this is the list you want to go for, you know, that's fair enough. If you've got a goal in mind. You've got no magic defense, which does make me a little bit worried as well. Maybe something like they're so expensive though. Could remove the marker corn. Yeah, I don't know. Like I get what they're doing. Like maybe I'm not sure what I'd add to juice this up, honestly. For the sake of it, just for spending the points, maybe it's just like a unit of Chaos Warhounds. Because you're not super worried about the draw. Oh no, because you've gone for the ambush version, not the killing them in the challenge version, right? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you've got a lot of drops actually. So maybe the answer is juicing up one of the unit champions to be able to fight, which I guess is going to be this one here, the Mark of Corn one with the flail. Although it's that's not super exciting because you don't get the Mark of Corn because you didn't charge. You don't get the frenzy. Maybe it's just something along the lines of... I don't like that either. More Huskarls. I don't think the list is improved by more Huskarls. Like you could add a 6th one for this squad here, which is fine, but I'm not sure it makes the list noticeably better or worse in any real way. Yeah, I don't know. So the problem this list is going to have is what does it do to beat the things in the game that are good? Because I don't feel like you've got good answers for the big Viletide brick, because it's got enough layered defenses that you, even with the Chaos Lord, I don't think you should be able to get through it. Pascals haven't got first charge. And then the Black Wall character is going to hit as hard as the Chaos Lord, if not harder. Because there you'll struggle into, although the magic resist is nice. But even then, you don't have much that's going to be able to threaten a Shigangan. And like the Monkey King's Wisdom will just eat the gigantic spawn. Vulnerable to magic missile spam with no dispel. I've put magic resist on all the key units. The Berserkers don't have it, but that's fine. They're kind of cheap and cheerful. The Lord has first charge. True, that is true. Yeah, I mean, like, in terms of the list design, I think it just has... Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how it faces up into the things that are good. Like, in terms of maximizing the design, I think it's fine. I'd like to see a wizard in there, but it would be dropping a lot. Even if you just went... I mean, a level 1 wizard's not going to do much is the problem. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you just add some more marauders. Make the unit a little bit more resistant to damage so it can score points more. That might be the answer. Yeah, something like that would be, I guess, the way to wrap that one up. All right. So, what should we have a look at next? Let's have a look at, I will definitely get this wrong, Vakir, I think. There's a Jade Fleet list, which is not full points. Let's have a look at what they've got here. They say, 2,000 point Cathalis for a team's event. Okay, some compromise. Maximum 1/3 characters, 1/3 flyers. Flying characters pull from both pools. Cool. More than 2 of special unique war machines. 1 rare unique war machines. So 2 counters max. Common items shared across the team, mostly taken. Teammates are Orcs and Goblins and Beastmen. Sentinel is my looks pretty piece. General strategy is Shugs take command. Go together with the Lancers or take Constellation of the Dragon and avoid. Mix of pitch battles and match play scenario. Okay, so you've got... If you can run 667 points worth of flying characters, you should definitely be running. Honestly, probably just double Lord. I think 7 points you might be able to run double Wizard. So let's just remove all of this. Or even just going like single Lord and double General. That might be the way to do it. So if we're running Illusion with the Monkey King's Wisdom, Scrolls of Sheshin, 365. So we're now down to only 300 points. If we go for this build here, and that's the level 4. But the Monkey King's Wisdom does just kill everything. So, you know, there's that. At which point, 369. We haven't got enough points to do 2 more. So what if there was a Lord? There's a level 3 wizard. Yes. Okay. Am I bad at maths? It's 369, 298. Okay, so we're actually... It's a lot harder to fit in. You could go if you're... Wait, you were overcap on the list that you submitted because you've got the Sky Lantern in there and you had the triple flyers, right? I'm gonna have to re-import the list just to double check this because I've deleted the stuff. We've got 205 plus 155 plus 165, 525 plus 150. 135. Okay, so you were technically under. Okay. Huh. I mean, in that case, maybe the answer is to go... Where's this list gone? Yeah. Single Shug Lord. And then Shug General. Just double check what you've gone for. I do like the Morshard. Yeah, okay. So I will just double check the points here. 369 plus 135 plus 155, 659 gives us enough points to go heavy armor. And then 4 points, so it would have to be the lance. So we don't even have the points here for the Morshard. But I do think just having the Monkey King's Wisdom character, who will pretty consistently deal with most things, is going to be a lot better for you in terms of output. Double cannon's still good. The Sky Lantern's fine, especially because you're capped on cannons. The Sentinel, going Jade Sentinel if you wanted to run one, is the way to do it. Spirit Lantern, Enchanted Shield. I think, given that we had to drop Morshard, if you wanted to run Morshard at all, we can fit it on this character very comfortably. Also, as a note, I don't think it's ever the Enchanted Shield on unit champions, because the only time they're ever really going to use it is in a challenge, and there's not likely to be enough volume of attacks that they take at initiative step that you have to worry about that, and it's not unlikely that the enemy has a magic weapon. So Charm Shield's just giving you a 5-up save once is usually going to do what you need. Okay, so Shug, Warriors. Unless there's some sort of weird comp, I don't see any value to the unit of 8, because they can't score, so they're not going to get anything for you there. Peasants, ooh. Are you limited on models? Because the peasants with spears, I don't think do much, because they have, yeah, it's 118 points of T3 with no save at all, which is very easy for someone to pick up. I don't mind the warbows. I think the warbows are solid, but I think this unit here is... It doesn't do much. I'm going to remove it with the understanding that if you're limited on models, then you just have to put the models back in terms of what you have. But if we're going the Brick of 20, let's go and give this unit the Icon of Heavenly Fury. Obviously, there are less flyers, but if your opponents can only bring one dragon, being able to shut that dragon down and then get into it with the Monkey King's Wisdom by turning off fly with the Icon of Heavenly Fury is really nice to have. And then in terms of core, I'm just going to put these both up to 15 and then add another unit as well. And again, if you run what you've got, so if you are limited on models, obviously, you just have to put them back to the way they were before, and that's fair enough. 1937, the Lancers, and then what else is worth running here in terms of... Not being able to put any more points into characters feels very odd. It's, I guess, like, Iron Hail Gunners isn't awful, and you've shown that you have peasants, so it's likely that you have the box. So, yeah. I don't mean the Iron Hail Gunners, I mean the Crane Gunners. I actually don't personally like the Crane Gunners, but in terms of if you want a little bit more shooting, having a small unit of them isn't awful, because 48 points for your opponent to run towards and try and pick up. Let's make them 4, and then we'll just drop 1 Jade Warrior or something like that, or more likely 1 Peasant actually. Yeah, I think this just gives you a little bit more pressure, but I think it says Jade Fleet. Was it Jade Fleet, or did you just name it the Jade something or something to confuse me? I think you named it something to confuse me. Let me have a look. Jade Mandate of the Promised Feast, yes, and it's not a Jade Fleet. Very good. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I think that would be my approach there. But I'd probably just go Jade Fleet and go, like, just run the tried and tested stuff, right? So even if, like, these two characters are the same, they can run around together and do the output. Then you've got the double cannon, you've got one of the Sky Lanterns, you can go double unit of Jade Lancers in core, and then the Jade Warriors, and then you can still run the Sentinel, and then I'm not sure what you do with the rest of the points, but it's a good question. What would you do with the rest of the points? Fire rain rocket batteries, maybe. No, it's not a problem at all. How do people actually submit to this? It was nice to meet and play you at Jade Fleet. Oh, lovely. You didn't. Nice. Yeah, no, it was nice to play you as well. So the way to submit a list is there's a Discord link down below, and if you join the Discord, I will on a Friday, I will post at everyone in the Fix My List channel, which will say submissions open, and it's open for about 8 hours. Priority goes to people whose lists weren't looked at last stream, and then also channel members as well, as a thank you for the support. But if you get it in early, you'll usually be seen, unless there's like 10 channel members that submit, which does happen occasionally. It won't be on next Friday, unfortunately, because I will be traveling down to Saffron Walden, so I can stream Lewis's event. Oh god, I hope it's not super warm then. I need to take some fans with me or something like that. I'll have to think that one through, maybe buy a new fan, actually. I have an old evaporation cooler that was pretty decent, but it's well past its best. I lost the evaporation part of the evaporation cooler, so yeah. Cool. I need to link this one now. Boom. There we go. Nice to know you. You're welcome. You are welcome. Okay. What? You know what? Let's go with more orcs, and this is another orc list, which is please no night goblins, which I think I'm seeing more and more because they're so obviously powerful. People are a little bit sick of them, and orcs and goblin players love to run the big dumb things as opposed to the good things. Not a criticism, just like as a group of players, they're more likely to want to do stuff that isn't necessarily there because it's effective, but there because they enjoy it, which I respect. So we have got Warboar, Foot, Goblin, Weird Knob, Meteor Hammer. Okay, that's a little bit too spicy there. The first thing, I don't mind like a Wolf Chariot character, I think that's fun. But instead of going Meteor Hammer, let's go Wallop's One-Hit Wonder, because you're probably not going to survive for multiple rounds of combat, realistically. And then also spend the points on... Did you have Talisman Protection already? Yes. Let's go Trollhide Trousers then, which will just give you a little bit more oomph. Hey, Dave, look, I appreciate you hanging around, but... I'm not sure it's goblin racism as much as classism, because who's not to say that all greenskins are the same race, and it's just the social tiers, right? That's what orcs and goblins really are. It's a critique on capitalism, and that's why they have Cockney accents. There's my sales pitch. I'm not sure I believe any of what I just said. Okay. So we've got the Black Orcs. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's at this point in the edition, people usually have picked it up. But Motley Crew, there's a lot of words. Don't worry about it. It's really easy. What you do is you take half shields, you take half great weapons. You checkerboard them. So you go shield, great weapon, shield, great weapon, shield, great weapon. And that way, you'll have the same number of models in the unit, / in the fighting rank, depending on whether you're being shot at or if you're in combat. And as long as you take a great weapon first and then you take a shield, assuming that you've got an even number of them, you will always have the ability to use the 3-up save, which is the full plate plus the shield. That's all you really need to know about mob rule. So, also I love veteran on there. And hey, we've just freed up some points. 17. So with 17, I would go 9, and then I'd go 8 great weapons. And hand weapons are unfortunately just not a good choice. When strength and AP were tied, they had their purpose, and now that they're just an AP 0 weapon, they are sad, especially with parry. Snotlings, not terrible for slowing things down. Goblins, we probably don't need 31. I guess you probably just had some spare points. Oh yeah, let's give... Oh, ooh, a big brick with the short bows. Interesting. And then poison. I like, I'm not going to say that you have to drop them, but I think this unit is going to struggle to have any staying power on the tabletop. Because you can give them light armor, but you're not going to get far without the shields as well. So I think we probably just don't even bother. Because you're not doing the mass shooting of yesteryear into dragons, it's very difficult to get a lot of shooting out of a ranked up unit of bows, especially short bows. Even though they've got volley fire, they've got a shorter range, so you can't move and volley fire them, and you can't stand and shoot and volley fire them. So I'm not 100% sold. Like, I like a cheap unit of goblins with, in this case, what have you got here? You've got the Big Red Raggedy Flag, you've got the BSB. I'd probably just give them War Banner or Monster Hunter Tapestry, something like that. Would be... Oh, you've got Monster Hunter Tapestry there. But yeah, if you want to run them with banners, like, that's fine. It's just... they're not going to have much staying power. And I think the job of core in the current game is mostly to exist because they have to, and then also stand on objectives and be a benefit to the game in that way. Okay. Assuming we're leaving them, the Goblin Obnob, Idol of Mork War Magic is really nice. Idol of Gork obviously is good on a Goblin because it increases your range by 3 inches and increases your... it lets you reroll 1 cast once per turn. So that's basically going to be every turn you're getting more value out of your itchy nuisance. Evening, Paul. Haven't done your list yet. We can get to you next. That was good timing. Then we've got a Weird Knob, War Boar, Law Familiar Battle Magic. Okay, cool. So you've got 3 characters in there. A big unit of common goblins with Ugdras does have play. Yeah? As in, like, ward save and regen. You still think, like, with bows? Or do you mean just as, like, hand weapon shield? Because I could see them being, like, a really cheap brick that would take forever to get through. But I guess... I don't know. I mean, you will know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure that you know what you're talking about. You know? You get what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm putting down? Alright. Let's think about this one. The Goblin Chariot... Sure. I mean, if you're... No, you've got the Soundbearer already. Then you've got the Orc Chariot. Orc Ball Boys. I'm not super in love with non-character chariots. Amy has convinced me that they may be solid. But if you're doing them... Like, she really likes Frenzy with extra models and war paint, which gives them just a little bit more oomph. I'm not sure that I'm quite on board with that. Oh, hand weapon shield for the goblins. Yeah, that is the only way that I could see them. Very hard to shift. Sure. It's stodgy, for sure. Okay, so the general has great weapon, shields, trollhide trousers, armor of Mork, talisman protection. That is a beefy boy. Armor of Mork is the heavy armor, right? Heavy armor, magic resist. It feels a little bit... No, that's fine. And then we've got the BSB with Collar of Zorga for -1 to hit. Isn't that against you specifically, or is that in base to base? I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm Collar of Zorga. Against the wearer or their unit. Okay, -1 to hit. Sure. Yeah, okay. Sure. I don't hate it. I'd love to see a charm shield on there instead of the shield, though. Cav Spear, that's fine. Orcs with Cav Spears are pretty solid on the charge because of the extra AP from choppers. And then... Do you need the Talisman of Protection if you're going for the Weird Knob? That's the question. I'd say, let's drop the Talisman of Protection here. Boom. And then maybe just go a couple of Power Scrolls. Let's just make sure that you're getting that Arcane Urgency off when you want it. That, you know, the key turns to get the Oaken Shield off. All of that good stuff. Makes more sense to me. And then we're 9 points over. And, yeah, I don't want to really tweak around with the units too much. In terms of it's what you're looking to run. 9 points, we just have to drop something. I don't really want to drop any Black Orcs. If you've got 17... You haven't even got a foot character in there, so you probably want to run 18 of them. Purely for my sensibilities. At which point, let's just drop down to 25 models here. musician, whatever, something like that. In fact, no, it could be the nasty skulkers could go, because they are a fun idea that doesn't really do much in practice, unfortunately. We've got 5 points spare. Give me Charm Shield. I wouldn't mind some magic resist on that brick as well, but you know, them's the breaks. Oops, I almost didn't tag you. And this, whose list was this again? This was Broston's. Lovely stuff. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, let's go then to Paul's list. Paul's Beastmen. What did you say for this one? I think you've used my Beastmen again, but I want to see if the Grand Army had any teeth at a square-based comp event. I also have Happies and Razor Got, if they need to be added. Your typing's as good as mine, mate. You need to have a word. Okay, so double gigantic spawn, herdstone, all good stuff. Double Ungor with ambushes, double Ungor without ambushes. I think it's probably oops. 1 unit of Ungor starting on the board, I like, in general. Let's make them 16. The reason for that is just the panic. You're obviously less likely to fail a panic with reroll, but if you're out of command range for whatever reason, then having the reroll there is really nice. Okay, so character-wise, you've got Hagtree Fetish, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Power Scroll Elementalism. Not a bad loadout. I don't dislike that at all. You've got a Doom Bull. I guess you're not in Wild Herd, so sure. Heavy Chaos Armor, Cackling Blade, Gnarled Hide, Gouge Tusks. I mean, that is very much, we've got Black Maul at home, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. You've got a 3-up armor save and a 5-up ward, and your T5 with 5 wounds, and then you've got Slug Skin for the unit. Yeah, you know what? Fair play, fair play. That's not terrible. Wargore, great weapon with full plate Chaos Armor. You give him a shield, Slug Skin, cool. Monster Hunter Tapestry, Beast Banner. All right. The main thing I'd say is let's make sure that we're putting the standard that we don't want to lose on the unit. Because if I shouldn't have done this because I'll probably end up playing you at the event, so I should have just not made this tweak. But if you had it on your BSB. All you do is you send the dragon in, you target the Wargore, like once you've dealt with this like character issues, or if you soak the challenge, whatever. You put all of your attacks into the BSB. It does have a 3-up save and a 5-up ward, but that only goes so far when you're putting all of a dragon and the lord attacks into it, and then you get to make your stomps into the unit anyway. So yeah, make sure that you've got the banner that you care less about. In this case, the one that makes sure you get into combat. You're okay losing that because you're being sniped at in combat. Need to take any chance to beat you. I don't know. You're not bad, Paul. You're not bad. We'll see. You got Pelt of Midnight, Demonology, Lore Familiar. I like a Power Scroll. If you're not going Wild Herd, I really like a Power Scroll on my Steed of Shadows Demonology caster. Because sometimes you just need to get the spell off. And yeah, it's a higher chance of miscast, but you're not going to blow up your whole army, so who cares? 2 level 1s there. That's super fine. There is... What's the name of the item? Why can't I remember what the item's called? Is it Goretooth? Goretooth. It's probably not worthwhile, right? But Law of Primal Magic's a really nice spell lore to have. I'm not saying you should spend 30 points to make both of your level 1s this, but it makes the Orcs and Goblin matchup basically unlosable, because it gives you a Remains in Play Vortex that casts on a 9. You're going to be casting it 2 because you're going to be in range of the Herdstone, so hopefully one of them goes off. And you put a 3-inch blast template within 12, and it's a 6-inch bubble of difficult terrain, which means, given that it's a 3-inch blast template, it's 7.5 inches, give or take. So it's a 15-inch bubble of your fanatics just die if they come towards me at all. So I really like that as a tech piece. I'm not sure it's super worth doing. I'd rather go, let's go one with the Jagged Dagger, and then let's go for the other one with the... Where's it gone here? I always forget the name of it. Tome of Spellcraft, so you're getting the reroll. Because if you're casting on a 9, even if you've got +2 to cast, you still need to roll a 7, and if there's any magic resist, good luck. So going for the additional bonuses to cast is very important there. Oh, that does put us over on points. Bugger. Bugger, bugger, bugger. I have just indiscriminately put a lot of extra stuff in there. Okay. Okay. Balls. What do we want to drop? What do we want to drop? I really like this character to have a flying carpet. I mean, it's super risky, but I'm in love with the flying carpet hag tree fetish caster with primal magic to try and fish for a reserve move as well. This one can't really drop any points. This one can't drop any points. Well, you know what? Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Beast Banner. It's okay. Like, it does what it says on the tin. I think, like, Vitriolic Totem is generally played more heavily, so maybe I'd just say go with that. That saves us 10 points, then we're 50 points over. We might just have to drop. Honestly, we might just have to drop the 2 upgrades that we've gone for, but even then we're going to be over, right? If we drop the Tome of Spellcraft, and then we drop the Jagged Dagger, we're still 6 points over? Is it all to do with the Power Scroll that I added in? Is that the problem? That is the problem. Eee. 6 points is difficult to lose. Really, really difficult to lose in characters. I guess you just can't run with the Power Scroll. After all of that talking, I'm assuming the reason that you didn't put any of that in was points disparity. So, yeah. Alright, you'll just have to play around with a little bit of risk. I don't love that. I do not love that. But given how expensive the Doom Bull is, I don't really see a good way to get around it. Alright, well, we'll just have to leave it for now. Gore, Ungor, 2 units of Scourge Machine Ungor, double Gigantic Spawn. You can go Spawn, you can go Dragon Ogres, whatever your preference is. Both are good in their own way. And then I'd go Harpies, probably just 2 units of 5 Harpies, and then we need to shave 18 points, which here we can just go down to 30 or 41, something like that. You're all about risk. Fair enough, that's fair. If you're happy to do that, then I respect it. Oh, you need... So, this is where... I was talking about not needing it earlier. This is where Scourge the Burden is really important, because you're probably going to put all your casters in this unit, right? So you're going for... You get Call the Wilds, the Bound Spell, power level 2, which is cast on an 8. You can cast it on yourself. Infantry, Cavalry, Reserve move. So the whole point is you load up the front rank of your unit. You can put the Wizards in the front rank as well, because you can have more models in the front than you have space for in combat, as long as you don't dispossess the command. And you just walk forwards, you know, hopefully fly forwards 12. You cast your Vile Tides, you then fly backwards 6, or you fly forwards again, whatever you want to do. You position in whichever way possible, and then you get charged, and all of the models that can't fit in the front have to go to the back, which means that they're not able to be sniped out. It's a pretty decent way of doing things. But yeah, that's important to have there. It does mean there's no magic resist, but like... I don't know. That Doom Bull's so expensive. I think that's probably why when I've looked at Grand Army, I've not run the Doom Bull myself. But I guess it's just got to be something like 40 here. Yeah. This isn't perfect, but this is about as close. I think I'd be tempted to fully rebuild this. I can't put my finger on it, but I don't like it. I'm not 100% sure what it is about it that needs to be tweaked, but there's definitely something that needs to be tweaked, mate. I think I don't like how inconsistent the casting's going to be. Like, I'd rather make sacrifices elsewhere to get the casting. Didn't realize you could have more casters, characters than rank fly on the front rank. Yeah, it's so the rule that specifically says you can't is in combat only, which I feel like most of the player base didn't realize until the Orcs and Goblin laser list, because I didn't realize until I saw that. I was like, how does that work? And then someone, yeah. What you think is better? I'd have to fully rebuild it. Maybe this is one that we have a conversation about at some point. I don't know how to get there, but the sacrifices I would want to make, I want to get Magic Resist 2 in the unit. I like the -1 to be shot. I think that's good. Although you could go for the Chalice if you wanted to. But Jagged Dagger, Tome of Spellcraft, and a Power Scroll on the Demonology Wizard. I think all of those are things that I'd like to fit in. But to do so, you're going to lose some combat prowess. This is basically a wild herd list with a Doombull in it. Yeah, that is what it is. That's what the goal is. In square-based comp, wild herd is 2,000 points, and Grand Army, pardon me, Grand Army is 2,200 points. So there's definitely good reason to do that. Also, you don't have to run the unit of Primal Warherd, and you are allowed to run Giant Spawn of Chaos if that's what you want to do with your rare points, which is not a bad way of doing things. Because they add, like, they're super easy points for some armies to pick up, but it's 340 points between the two of them, so it's not the end of the world if they do. But then some armies really struggle with that. So like Bretonnians hate this because, sure, theoretically they can charge and kill them quite easily with like an Overblade Duke or something like that, but you might just random like reserve move into them, not reserve move. So yeah, there's real concern there. Cool. Okay, so that was Paul's list. Let's have a look next at, we can have a look at Jacob's list. What did Jacob say in chat for the context for their list? Back with the Empire, Grand Army with primarily mounted units. So this is the list that we looked at before, but you've done some tweaks. So you had Hans paired with Prince Ulthur's Dragon Company. You've convinced you that that's not worth doing, and you've replaced them with a Great Cannon and a Doomseeker, and Hans is standing close to the two mercenary units as support. No worries, Paul. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Okay, again, if you're running a cannon, run 2. Just the consistency of 2 will threaten things, and you can also put them like 1 on each flank, so you can threaten to hit cavalry. If people advance, they can't protect their flanks against both units. The 2 Demigryph with the Icon of More, I don't hate. And then you've got the Captain in there as well. Okay. I don't think this list needs hands, particularly. I know the Ogres will benefit, like the mercenaries will benefit by not having to roll, but I'm not sure you're actually getting a lot out of General Hands, and it would free up a lot of points to drop him. Because you don't really have a unit for him to join, right? Yeah. Yeah, you don't have any unit for him to join. So he goes away. He's not worth running on the basis of you haven't got a unit to put him in. Lone combat characters on foot just aren't something that work, unfortunately. Add great swords instead of what, like the ogres or something like that. It's much of a muchness. I think neither of them are massively competitive units, so it just depends what you want to go with for your, your support there. The Captain with the lance, which underwater striker, yeah, that's fine. Joining the Moor Brick, and then you've got the Law Familiar, Elementalism Caster. What was the role of the Elementalism Mage, the Missile State Troop, Plague of Rust, and Ramparts from Mystical Pathways? That's 3 spells. So regular knights and witch hunters. The great swords aren't core, so you wouldn't be able to swap out the regular knights for them. It would have to be something down here, like getting rid of the mercenaries to allow that. But I think you just drop that character. I don't think Hands adds really anything other than allowing you to not roll for them to come in. For their thing. The mage, you said you wanted 3 spells. Let's just make them a level 3 wizard. That makes the most sense to me. Elementalism with a Law Familiar Power Scroll I think is very solid. I also don't hate a Wizard Familiar for +1 to Dispel. We don't necessarily need it, but it's something to consider. I'll drop the tank. If you really want, I mean, yeah, it depends what the goal is of the list, right? Because it's not making it a more. Wait, how have I doubled up on generals? There we go. By putting great swords in, you're not making the list more competitive. So it depends what you want out of this for the list being fixed, right? We can remove this and just put a chunk of great swords in, but they're infantry that aren't going to score any points because they can't stand on objectives, and they're also not probably tanky enough to, or like they're not punchy enough to really threaten much. But if you were going to run the unit with the understanding that you could cast Earthen Ramparts on them from the wizard, you could go Monster Hunter Tapestry and then sort of like 23 of them, something like that. They're quite pricey, but I have put an extra cannon in, so we have to free up some points anyway. Priest of Ulrich, Witch Hunter. Sorry about that. Empire is just not like Empire has a very limited pool of competitive units. Is the problem? Like if you're looking to run it as, it depends what you're looking for. If you're trying to run it as Kitchen Table Warhammer, it doesn't matter. Just run the units that you want to run, and that's fine. And then like you can tweak numbers and loadouts to make things feel better on the tabletop. But if you're trying to run a competitive list for Empire, you're pretty stuck in, I think, with what you can run. The steam tank's not bad. Double cannon's really good. I like the Hellblaster volley guns. Honestly, I never would run mercenaries competitively, if that's what you're going for. But again, if it's just you want to run them because you like them, then that's fine. That's not a problem. The Demigryph Knights are unfortunately not a bad unit, but they struggle with the meta. The way that you're running them, which is as cheap as possible, although 2 plus a character is still going to be like the better part of 300 points, or, you know, actually it might be more than 300 points. But making them cheap-ish, having a smaller footprint and being able to run around and cause terror is probably the best way of using them. I do like that as a general strategy. And then in terms of core, like a big brick of the Griffin standards, veteran state troops is generally the best way to run it. This unit of Knights of the White Wolf is solid as well. I quite like them. They're relatively punchy in terms of Empire. I wouldn't bother with the second unit of Knights, just in terms of you'd have filled up with points pretty comfortably by that point. And then in terms of characters, Hans is good in Nuln because he gives you the +1 to go first. If you're going for like that full gun line, 2 to 3 units of Outriders, double, triple cannon, Hellblaster volley guns, whatever version you're going with. He's very good there. I don't think he adds much to this list other than being like a decent combat character with a good leadership who makes your mercenaries less volatile. So if that's why you take him, that's fine. But in terms of like building it as a competitive Empire list, it would probably be, you know, stuff like the Great Swords aren't going to cut the mustard, I would say. The Priest of Ulrich as well, I would say you probably don't need. I'm not sure they're going to add much. I obviously going with the Knights of the White Wolf. The prayers are fine. The Battle Howl is like deceptively not as good as it seems because it adds range to the result of your charge, but it doesn't add range to your declarable. So you're still only charging 16 inches or declaring at 16 inches. You just got more sort of consistency, which is not bad, but it's not like, I'm not sure that I'd take a full character for it. Rerolling 6 to hit against you, you're already at T3, so I'd rather just try and kill my opponent first. And then multiple wounds 2 is not awful. It's the one that's interesting, but I've yet to see it do much on the table. I think one of the problems is, like, most of the time you're going into single wound stuff. If you play consistently against, like, enemy monstrous infantry, it's got good value there. Sure. Like, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, I'm telling you what is or isn't competitive viable. If you want to run these units, you can do, but it's just in terms of like making the list more competitive, it's hard to do without scrapping big chunks. Got the Priest and the Witch Hunter. Yeah, can do that. Would free up some points there, and then let's say we go to 18, something like that. And I guess that would probably be the way that I would run them in this setup. I think that maximizes the theme that you were going for, at least. Okay. Mm. I need to top up with my water because I've been talking too much. Funnily enough, given that is the whole purpose of the stream. To talk. Okie dokie. Well, let's have a look then at what have we got? What have we got remaining? There is McQueenie's Square-Based Combat Dwarves. Another what dwarf list. King goes with the Longbeards, Thane goes with the Hammers. Both plots stick together and support each other. Bullock with Rangers, stick with Baggage Cart, Cannon and Anvil at the back. Each get a Runesmith for Match Resist and Armor Bane. Okay, cool. Okay, so the King is the classic Master Rune of Smiting. So this is this Royal Clan, or is this, no, just regular? Okay, so Smiting Preservation, but doesn't have Grommel. Interesting. I think I would rather take, I'd rather take Grommel over Preservation, because you've only got a 4-up save otherwise. So this gives you a 2-up save, so I think that's more useful. And then Smiting is obviously great. Great weapon. Shield Bearer's good stuff there. Anvil of Doom. Why a Rune of Speed? +1 initiative. Gets you to initiative 4. Is that... I guess for 5 points it's fine. I'm just not sure what the value of that is. Does it have... It has a ward save, right? Ancestral Shield's a 5-up. And what's Rune of Fire? Is that a 3-up? Oh no, it gains the flaming attacks. I'm thinking the Rune of the Furnace. Wouldn't work against... Given that they changed how the Anvil works. Alright, no worries. Then we've got... So the King, we've got the Thane with the Master Rune of Grugni. And the Rune of Preservation, Rune of Stone, Rune of Passage. Really worried about that multiple wounds. Rune of Stone, Rune of Passage, unless there's a lot of like Killing Blow in your local scene. Typically, you want to run the Thane and the King together, because you don't have a ward save on the King. Obviously, if you run the units next to each other, that's good, but I think going for 3 units is too many. I think a 3rd unit is fine, but it has to be a shooting unit. Like, if you're going for 3 units... Sorry, if you're going for 2 units... I'd just make it both core units so you can score. I don't think the 3rd unit of Hammerers adds much. And I feel like I've been saying the same thing a lot this evening, so apologies to anyone who's heard me say the same thing. But I just don't know that I see the value in running the Hammerers, unfortunately. I think they probably just go. And you go down to running a unit of Rangers and a unit of Longbeards, and then you juice them up with characters. But that means that you don't have to spend as much. So you've got like this unit of runes. This runesmith can go away, for example. Like you haven't got the Thane with the the shooting Thane, who is probably the best thing that dwarves can bring, bar nothing. Bursting Flame, accuracy, rapid fire is very, very good. We've got Runestone. Okay, not something I care about. And then give them a shield as well. So that Thane is really solid. You probably want the King and the Thane in the same unit together. But, as I was talking about, keep the units together so you can bounce between the two if you need to. Burlock Damonson with the Rangers is super fine. And then you've got the Runesmith with Calm, Passage, and then you've got Spellbreaking. I'd definitely go for another Spellbreaking. Do a Spellbreaking here. And then this one can go Spellbreaking Passage. That might be the way to run that, and better off going for full plate. Oh no, actually you can save points, can't you? Because you're going for the parry save. That does make sense. Oh, too many points. What have I done? I've added an extra character. Okay. In terms of what we've got, maybe we just have to shave points off actually, so we can't afford to go for a second spell breaking because I've added the Thane. 47 points too many. I'm not sold on an Anvil in the current game, to be honest, because they're so vulnerable to war machines. And especially if you're playing, I don't know, it says square-based combat. I don't know if you're playing at the TSN Arena. I can't speak to other locations. But at the TSN Arena, expect to play at least a couple of armies with cannons over the course of the weekend. Double copters. I actually don't particularly love double single copters. If anything, I'd be tempted to go a unit of 2. And then between them, they have unit strength 6. So they're able to go and get baggage trains, but they're also able to disrupt if you get a flank charge. And then between disrupting and getting some impact hits as well, they're not terrible. They are not terrible. Okay, so we're still 47 points too many when I'm struggling to see the easy way to cut them. Honestly, the Thane may be... Gotta take 6 cannons and dwarves. Unfortunately, dwarf cannons are not good, which is very disappointing. As much as I like the shield bearers, I think we just have to drop them here. And it also helps with the frontage of the unit, because you're probably going to put the king and the Thane in the same unit, I would think. And then it becomes the main unit of Longbeards, which is going to do most of what you've got here. So we'll give them the Rune of Passage. I guess it's got to be Passage and Furnace. Who did I give Passage to? Was it this one? We'll give them Furnace as well, just in case. I don't think you need... Like, I'm not sold on Preservation or Stone, honestly. I don't think you need that on your Thane at all. I think you can probably pretty comfortably get away with just shield. Obviously, they can be sniped out to a degree, but you got to make some... What would I go for if I wanted to keep him alive? I guess maybe just Rune of Toughness, right? The Rune of Fortitude. I think I'd take that over Preservation and Stone. I guess Stone's fine if you've got a 3-up armor save. And that puts a cap for characters, so we don't have to worry about it too much after that point. Yeah. Okay, so then Longbeards, we've got Rune of Passage, we've got Rune of Hesitation. I don't know that I care about Rune of Hesitation, honestly. Like, it doesn't feel... Again, you want people to engage with you. If they don't engage with you, it'll just be a very drawish event and you won't get anywhere. Oh, you definitely want great weapons as well on the unit of Longbeards. Gotta love an anvil. You see, I love the idea of an anvil, but I'm just not sold about it in terms of its actuality, you know? So let's go up to, if you go 6x4, I guess you'd be 19. So I guess you don't need any more models in there. The ranges can go up a little bit as well. Rune of Courage. Really don't want your dwarves running off the table. Okay, so then I think we just put some more support in. So a second cannon's not awful. I don't think dwarf cannons are amazing, but they aren't terrible in that they're magical and the D3 wounds. So you can threaten things like Banshees and make them play a lot more respectful. It gives you some play into stuff like that. Or just generally trying to chip off wounds on, like, you know, cavalry if they turn to flace, like turn to give you the flank. Just hoping and praying to get the double move that, I guess. Yeah, like, it's 240 points. I think because they're not here, I don't want to just take it out. But I would not be playing the anvil, I think. I'm not sold that it adds much, and it's too easy to kill, because it's... T7's fine, 5 wounds, and it's, what, a 4-up armor save and a 5 ward against shooting, but it will just fall over to, like, a couple of, you know, 3 cannons, maybe, on average, something like that. Can't wait for when we get the heat. Oh, Amy, I would swap in a heartbeat. Not location, but just weather. I would love to be not warm. It's good against Beastmen. The anvil? Is it? Is it because it's magic resist 3? What do you get that makes it good against Beastmen? Yeah, I'm not sure what on here you're seeing you like for Beastmen specifically to spells at +3. Okay. I had forgotten the that's true. That is true. Fair? Yeah? I don't mind that. And it's probably not getting Vile-Tided even without that, because it's magic resist 3. Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Then we've got 100 points. What do we want to put the last points into? Honestly, it's hard to say. I wouldn't mind a nice unit of Iron Drakes here, but they're going to be without support. You've already put... Yeah, I'm really not sure what I'd want to throw into this, honestly. Something, you know what? Something that I don't see people playing, which I think probably should be played to some degree. Miners. Like a unit of like 12 miners, maybe 12. Okay, 12 is too many. They're quite pricey. But just like the steam drill is the one that rerolls when you come back onto the battlefield. Yeah, I think that's solid because you can just come in the backfield and how much? Too much. So you come in, I guess, let's just say 98 points for 6 of them. Come in and try and get a baggage train. Rob's always running baggage trains. Like, he runs maximum secondaries, so coming in the backfield and being annoying, yeah. I think this is a unit that people should look at more. I don't know why people don't play them. Maybe they're terrible. Maybe they're too slow, because they're in, you know, close or open order, and they're only 3-inch move, and you can't march when you come in. I don't know. You can put them in marching column, so... 6 of them is the maximum you can reach out, because you can only be double your movement, right, from the board edge. So if they get too close to the board edge, you can maybe touch them there. They ambush, then never reach anything. You know, you put them in a marching column of 1 by 6. That's the way to do it. Aha. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. And then... what else have we got? Oh, yeah, there was another Wild Hunt list. So this is Sebastian's Wild Hunt Highlander list. For a tournament with a Highlander army format, only one of each unit entry is allowed, including characters, and one of each monstrous character mount. Orion's Wild Hunt is allowed to take 2 Glade Rider units. Wild Riders from Core and Special are 1 total. I think Wood Elves are more punished by that. No, maybe that's not true. Maybe that's not true at all. That's a very pricey unit of Warhawk Riders. Oh. This is your list, is it? Kvsvar 82. Okay, so you've gone for the dragon. If we're doing the dragon, let's make sure we're doing the dragon properly. And by that I mean we'll make them the most able, like, if everyone else is only running 1 dragon, you running 1 dragon, and your dragon is able to win a challenge into every dragon in the game because of your setup, is the best way to do it. So we're going to do that. And then we're losing annoyance and netlings on this character if we do so. I was literally typing my description when you struck the entry. I'll never forgive you, and you're not coming to my birthday party. Sorry, Mistress Syrian. That's unfortunate. I would say you maybe should have woken up earlier in the day, because I shut it at 6:30 or so. Hold on. Let me just have a quick look, because I put the words door shut at 18:24. So you had about 8.5 hours to get that list submitted. Not to call you out at all. Alright. There'll be objectives and baggage trains. Cool. So back to the Wild Hunt. We've got the Glade Lord, who can just dance with anyone in the game. Then you've got... running without a big wizard just feels so sad. Yeah, that's true. But also I think it's something that Wood Elves might end up doing. Although... oh, you've got it on a Warhawk. Why have you got it on a Warhawk? Okay. Okay. So. Wild Riders. You've got 1 unit Obsidian Lodestone and Totem Wrath. And you've got the 2 units of Glade Riders. 1 with Arcane Bodkins, Springtide, Reserve Move. Good. And then the 2nd unit with Banner of the Hunter King. Isn't that Vanguard? Yeah. So you're vanguarding, you're reserve moving, your Furious Charge, your Impetuous, your True Flight Arrows. Sure. sure, I don't hate that. You know what I wouldn't hate as well? Giving both of these ML1. I think, even though you're leaning on reserve move, it's not unlikely that you're going to get caught by a magic missile. And if people are playing more singleton, I would expect to see more low-power magic missiles. Because a lot of, like, the direct power that people were going to run in the past, stuff like, you know, spam loads of Vile Tides, you can't do. So you could take, like, 2 Vile Tides, but then you can take the magic missile items as well. What's the ballistic skill on the spell slinger anyway? 4. You can give it Sword of Sorrow, but it's probably not ideal. Probably not ideal. Horse would be fine, yeah. In, like, this unit of Warhawk Riders, I think is very pricey. And it's not going to do much. I think 3 of them with a lodestone... Like, this is still very pricey, but I can see this having more of a spot on the table. But the problem is, I don't know what we replace it with. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, I was massively over on points because I made things more expensive. Okay, sure. I think we can upgrade the Spellsinger to 11. Oh, no, we have to drop points. We have to drop points? God damn. Spear Lyric in Orion's favor. Elementalism as a dry rolling lore is interesting. I don't think there's much in there that's super useful. I'd rather go for something that's got... I guess there's no good signatures lore spells. Maybe Drain Magic. When do Warhawks do anything? What's the primary target? Yeah, like, so in Wild Hunt, because you can give them Furious Charge, they're not terrible. Like, they're very overpriced, and they're not the efficient choice, but your unit's going to have... What is it? It's going to have 4 attacks per model at strength 4. 2 of them are AP 2, and 2 of them are AP 1. And that's, like, enough punch to be relatively decent. If you play them around the edge of the board, and you manage to avoid them getting shot and magic missiles, because they have no defense, I can see them having play in that respect. I think there's, like... That would be the way that I would play them. I would never run 5 plus a wizard. The one way that you could do that is if you went for high magic lore familiar power scrolls, and you went for... Walk Between Worlds, and you put all your eggs in that basket, but I think that's funny, just not good. 10 points to give Furious Charge and Impetuous at Leash of 8 feels rough. That's true. Yeah. 18-inch bubble of Leadership 10 on a Glade Lord, though, so there is something there. Okay, so the captain is Great Weapon, Stag, Shield, Moonfire Shot, Helm of the Hunt, Befuddlement of Mischiefs, Wild Rider Kindred. So this is adding a lot of punch to the Wild Riders. Okay. We're not ever going to be shooting. I understand that it's a magical shot, but one magical shot is not enough to save you from what you want. I'd be more tempted to put Resplendent Luminescence on this character if you're worried about that. Or actually put it on the Spellsinger and put them on a horse. So we're going to change this to a horse, actually. Let's do that so I remember, because we were over in points. Then you've got Great Stag, Helm of the Hunt, Befuddlement of Mischief, Wild Rider Kindred. I think Helm of the Hunt might be overkill. Although making them -1 to hit and then you're hitting on 2s, as previously mentioned earlier in the stream, it's not terrible. But instead of Helm of the Hunt, what if you went with... have you given it MR1 here? Yes. What if you went with MR2? Just spreading MR1 across the board is kind of fine as well, I think. Because if you wanted more output... I don't know, Orion's Favor? You're using Orion's Favor already? I mean, it's fine. I'm not inspired. I think instead of that, I'd be more tempted to go BSB and give them... I know it's more points that you're giving up here when they die, but if you're trying to really sort of, like, juice them up, maybe Monster Hunter Tapestry, because they can get baited by dragons, but then you don't have enough static combat res that it matters. You get War Banner, but you don't need the combat res. Rampaging Banner's not bad, we just don't have the points for it. Rerolling Charges is honestly pretty legit for this unit, I've found. Making sure it gets where it wants to be, but that is a lot of points for that. Alright, I'm just going to put it back to how it was. I think how it was fine. It just didn't spark joy. Would you rather run Grand Army with this Highlander format to be able to take Lord plus level 4 when Wild Hunt loses a Lord? I mean, you could, but you're allowed to take double Glade Riders in this, which is quite nice. So you've got 2 efficient core units. The problem is just kind of looking at it and being like, I'm not sure what... Elves across the board are going to struggle in a singleton format because they're a sort of like mid to lower mid-tier army in general, looking at all elves holistically, and I think wood elves are at the lower end of elves. They generally function by having a handful of units that are good and playable, and you spam them. But then you've got, if you're playing singleton, you then go, oh, I've got to run one of everything, and you don't have the depth of an army list to do that. That's, I think, the big problem. So, yeah, I think, like, I'd struggle. I'm not sure which armies I'd want to run singleton for. Stuff like Beastmen would be fine. Vampire counts would be fine. You just drop some 1 unit of zombies, maybe run a unit of skeletons instead, and run, like, 1 unit of Hex Wraiths and 1... Black Coach, so that would work pretty comfortably. Cathay would be hit for sure. Their strategy, they'd probably like run Mao Ying or something, and then like a 350 point or 345 point Sword of Reason Spectral Doppelganger character, and then a 155 point General. I'm getting off into the weeds here. Orcs and Goblins are fine. In terms of competitive builds, you'd only be running 1 unit of Night Goblins. So, if we're talking about like lists that are going to function well, all Orcs and Goblins lists that perform competitively well consistently are spam lists. They're spamming Fanatics, and now there's the Laser Beam list, which spams Wizards, but very specifically the Orc Wizards. So I think Orcs and Goblins would actually struggle. Yeah, I don't know. In terms of what we got here, though, I like multiples of 8. Just that, I think. Is there anything we could run instead of the Warhawk Riders? Because that is something that I'd like to never see, realistically. I just don't think there is. I don't think a unit of Sisters of the Thorn is better than the Warhawk Riders. Like, it probably is, but it's not... I don't know what a unit of Sisters of the Thorn does. Like... They can march around, and they can shoot the javelins, and that's fine. And they've got a 4-up ward save. But I just don't.
Could you do a Warhawk Peg Star?
Amy, why are you doing this to me? Thank you very much, muchos apreciado. Not if you want to win games, but we can sketch it out after this. Although I think this is probably it, especially in Wild Hunt where you've got very limited choices. If you were doing Grand Army, a big brick of Dryads. I'm pretty Dryad pilled. I think Dryads are very good, especially after I recently lost to Rebecca. Here, she's one of our like highest ranked players in the country. She's a very, very good player. We rub each other massively the wrong way, which is funny because I really like Rebecca, and then when we're playing, we both get annoyed at each other, which I don't love being annoyed at someone, but you know what? I'll take at least 50% of the blame in that one. And just hope to spend time with her outside of the games that we play. But anyway, her list, which is like Dryad spam and then double dragon, I think is very respectable. And I've been impressed by her Dryads in general. How tanky they are. They're very difficult to get rid of. Okay. Yeah, I think this is probably the best we could do. Realistically. I thought it had broken, and I'd forgotten that I was already in the screen that said, let's do the thing. So, Sebastian. Alright, well, let's have a very quick look at what we'd do if we were doing the Wild Rider. The Wild Rider, the Warhawk Star. I guess it has to be Grand Army, which sucks because you're losing the Impetuous. But you need high magic to make it work, right? So... Oh God, that's already a bad start. We're going to go Spellweaver, High Magic, and it doesn't have to be a level 4, because we only need Walk Between Worlds And then we probably want to take the ward save and the Fury of Cain, the +1 attack spell. Let's go probably triple power scroll. Probably triple power scroll. Probably that. One of the problems is you immediately lose your walk between worlds the turn that you want to charge, because you can't do that. The nudity at this point is gratuitous. Oh, are you seeing a little bit of arm, are you? I'm still so goddamn warm. It's 20 past 10. I should have cooled down by now. This is disgraceful. Okay, and then we need the Lord. If we're doing a Lord... oh, in fact, Kindreds. I think it's probably Hound. Yeah, Aspect of the Hound is probably the way to do things here. Fury of Cain for attack, but that's basically Furious Charge. It's just extra attack +1. So it gives a little bit of oomph. But we're not really looking at the units for their attacks. So it's more just like spicing up the Glade Lord, I guess. Then we want to go... If we've got a Glade Lord... What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay, so we're going to go BSB. We definitely want to have magic resist. So this character, we're going to go Monster Hunter Tapestry. We can't fight dragons. We just can't fight dragons. What's the point? Maybe we can. We go Glade Lord. Ah, this, like, I hate everything I'm doing here, by the way. Like, this doesn't feel good. Just give them all Warhawks as mounts. The Glade Lord. I don't think this is correct. I don't think this is correct at all. But we go Orion's Favor. And we go Dragon Slaying Sword. I hate this item so much. I don't think I've ever seen it and thought that it was the correct choice. And then I guess Armor of Meteoric Iron Charm Shield. That's the most tankiness we can get for 25 points. That's going to be it. I hate this. Why am I doing it? This feels like a Norman coach session. Yeah, Amy, you were indeed sent to test me. I guess it's Aspect to the Cat. Although we've got rerolls already, so maybe it's not that. Aspect of the Ball. AP on the turn it charged, and that gives you an AP 1 hand weapon. But at least then if you go into anything that's not a dragon, which is going to be 75% of your matchups, you then have something you can use. That's probably the way to go. We definitely want to make sure, unlike most times you're running Wood Elf characters, we want to make sure we're running arrows here, because we're going to be reserve moving and shooting. So I think it might just be Swift Shiver Shards for like 2 high strength shots on the Lords, the strength 4. That I don't know. Like, I haven't thought about this enough to have come up with like a compelling thesis for why it is or isn't anything like that. This character will go... we've got the Orion's Favor already, yeah. I was just being lazy and clicking it there to check. Helm of the Hunt's cool, and I don't hate having more output. So if we're doing that, the Glade Lord doesn't want Aspect. No, he does want Aspect. But he also wants Anointed Netlings and Befuddlement of Mischiefs to make it so that maybe he survives if he doesn't want to slay a Red Dragon. But like, it's so maybe. It's so maybe, and it's not good. The Spellweaver is going to, one of my favorite little pieces of tech, is going to go for Ascendi's Bane, which is a 10-point bow, which gives you quick shot, which is nice. And it's also, if you fail to hit, you may reroll a single failed reroll to hit in the shooting phase. If you fail that reroll, you take a hit. I just never reroll. I just treat it as a 10-point magic bow that lets my Spellweaver get a shot off. It sounded like a fun novel idea as second Bretts. Yes. But even Bretts are struggling a little bit in the meta at the moment, right? So Helm of the Hunt, great weapon. We probably need one punchy character. So this character probably has to become... Oh, we don't have the points for it. I think we're going to have to go... How are we doing this? Do we have to put another character in there? Alright, we're going for another character. It's eggs all in one basket. Warhawk, and then we're going to go... Ariel's Favor. God, that feels terrible. And then also a Charm Shield. Sure. I feel like I'm committing crimes doing this. This feels like it's in some way illegal. And then special Warhawk Riders, Wind Rider. They don't need anything, but you want them for challenges just in case. Give them all true flight arrows. There it is. That's the best we can get. That's the best we can get. You know what? You know what? It's closing time. It's like at the bar when they want you all to leave. I'm gonna